Nothing beats the thrill of payday, right? You know that feeling of checking your bank account and seeing that influx of cash? Your mind starts racing. Should I treat myself to something nice? Go on a shopping spree, plan a weekend getaway. It's tempting to indulge right away. But, more often than not, blowing through a paycheck on non-essentials leaves people strapped for cash later on. Once the thrill wears off, reality sets in. Bills pile up, debt looms, and you're stuck anxiously waiting for the next payday for relief. It's easy to get so caught up in the excitement of a fresh paycheck that we neglect priorities: rent, utilities, loan payments. These expenses don't pause just because you want to splurge on the latest gadgets. Living paycheck to paycheck like this is super common, but it prevents you from achieving your financial goals and getting ahead. Time to break the cycle. Welcome to MoneyWise Investor, your trusted source for financial information. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the common mistakes people make when they get their paycheck and how to avoid them, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. So, how do you make smarter choices in your next payday? Here are the 8 things you should do to make the most of your paycheck when you next get paid. Pay yourself first. Now, what does this mean exactly? Pay yourself first simply means setting aside savings and investments as the very first thing you do with your money. Before paying bills, buying groceries, or anything else, you pay you. Why is it so important? Well, most of us wait until the end of the month to save whatever we have left over. But usually that leftover amount is pretty tiny, if anything's left at all. Life happens, expenses come up, and the potential leftover savings often just disappears. By paying yourself first, you flip the script. You make your future self priority number 1, the VIP. You set aside savings right off the top of your income, so it has a chance to grow. Now, how much should you be paying yourself? Experts recommend 10 to 20% right off the top of your paycheck into long-term savings and investing. I know, that sounds like a lot, but start small if needed, maybe just 5% or so. The key is to make it automatic every paycheck. Even starting with 1% is better than 0%. Over time, you can increase the percentage as your savings balances grow and your expenses change. The power is in the consistency, not the amount. Time and compound growth will work their magic. Save for emergency. Life happens. Unexpected expenses pop up when we least expect them. Your car breaks down, your kid gets sick and needs medication. You just never know what might come up. And when surprise expenses hit, debt is not the solution. So, what's the answer here? An emergency fund. This is the money you have tucked away to handle life's surprises and keep you away from toxic debt products. Think of your emergency fund like insurance. You insure your home, your car, your health. Why not insure your finances too? It just makes sense. Watching your emergency fund grow over time gives you an amazing sense of control and security. And when an emergency does strike, you can cover it confidently without going into debt. That's huge. Trust me, an emergency fund equals freedom. It's what gives you options and prevents panic when faced with financial shocks. It also keeps you from having to rely on credit cards or personal loans with killer interest rates. Now, a common mistake people make is constantly dipping into their emergency fund for non-emergencies. Resist that temptation at all costs. That money is for true emergencies only: sudden job loss, medical emergency, major home repair, etc. If you keep raiding your emergency stash for smaller things like shopping splurges or vacations, you'll never build up a solid cushion. Be disciplined and respect the purpose of that money, so it's always there exactly when you need it. Budget. I know, budgets sound restrictive and boring, but done right, budgeting is incredibly empowering. Let me ask you this: do you actually know where all of your money is going each month? How much you spend on things like dining out, groceries, transportation, bills, etc. If not, it's time to start budgeting, my friend. When you track your exact spending, you get visibility into where your money is actually going. You can identify waste, align your spending with your values, and gain control. Budgeting is empowering. Budgeting isn't about depriving yourself. It's about conscious spending that helps you achieve what matters most to you. For example, maybe you notice you spend $400 a month dining out. If eating out is important to you, keep that budget, but trim other expenses to compensate. Or if you're trying to pay off debt faster, you could challenge yourself to cut the dining budget in half. The key is flexibility. Getting started is the hardest part, but the visibility and control you gain over your money makes budgeting so worth it. Give it a shot this month. Pay your debts. Now, debt is a necessary evil sometimes. I get it. But carrying credit card balances and high-interest debt month after month will destroy your finances faster than almost anything else. Not cool. So a key money move whenever you get paid is to knock down those toxic debts as fast as possible. I'm talking about credit cards, personal loans, anything charging you double-digit interest rates. Get intense and get them paid off. Here's a simple strategy that works. First, list all of your debts and their interest rates. Then, focus all your energy on paying off the debt, with the highest interest rate first. Keep making minimum payments on the others for now. Paying off the highest rate debt first saves you the most in interest rate charges over time. Once you knock out that first domino, move down the list to the next highest rate. Funnel every extra dollar into destroying your debts. Can you pick up some overtime at work? Or drive for a rideshare service occasionally? Commit that extra income 100% to extra debt payments until you're consumer debt-free. I know you can do this. Invest 20% of your income. Investing can sound intimidating, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do with your money. But most people don't invest nearly enough, if at all. That's why legendary investor Warren Buffett recommends setting aside at least 20% of your income into investments. And I think that's a great goal to work towards. Now, I know that sounds like a huge percentage, but investing consistently over decades is one of the most powerful ways to build wealth. The power of compound growth is just bonkers. Even if you start with just 5 or 10%, something is way better than nothing. Here are some starter tips to get into the investing game. Number 1, open a Roth IRA and contribute monthly. That money grows tax-free. Number 2, invest in low-cost index funds, rather than picking individual stocks. Diversification and low fees are key. Number 3, use automatic transfers on payday, so the money is invested before you can spend it. Set it and forget it. Number 4, play the long game. Don't panic when the market dips temporarily. With decades ahead of you, time is on your side. Investing intimidates a lot of people, but it doesn't have to. Start small, but be consistent. Keep learning. Stay diversified. Your future self will thank you. Create a spending plan. I know I just talked about budgeting, but a spending plan is a bit different. A budget helps you track overall spending by category. A spending plan is deciding exactly what the next paycheck needs to cover. Whenever payday hits, sit down and think through what upcoming expenses and obligations you'll need to cover before the next check comes in. For example, rent, electric bill, weekly groceries, etc. Make a list of all the stuff the paycheck specifically needs to cover before free spending. This helps gives your dollars a job and prevents overspending. I like to actually visualize allocating money into envelopes or categories in my budget app for those items. Once I assign dollars to cover upcoming bills and expenses, the rest I can use for discretionary spending on wants. Being intentional about carving out money for obligations first gives you so much more clarity and control over your paycheck. Keep some cash. Having some actual physical cash stored safely at home or in the bank gives you an incredible sense of security and preparedness. I'm talking a stash of a few $100, maybe $500 or $1,000. You see, cash empowers you and keeps you flexible. It's there for emergencies if systems go down. It allows you to snap up great deals whenever opportunities arise. And it avoids racking up debt when surprise expenses pop up. I like to keep a bit of surprise money on hand, just in case. It gives me options and peace of mind. I can almost hear it whispering, "Don't worry, I got your back." So soothing. Even famous billionaires like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger swear by keeping tons of extra cash around. And if it works for them, it can work for us too on a smaller scale. Cash equals calm. It's old-fashioned, but powerful. Outsource mundane tasks. You might be thinking, wait, what does outsourcing have to do with my money management? I know, but hear me out. Let's say you spend several hours each week running errands, cleaning, doing yard work, and other mundane tasks that don't really require your specific skills or passion. Think about how much free time and mental energy you'd gain by paying someone else to handle those tasks instead. That new time and mental bandwidth can then be redirected towards focusing on your career, building new skills, spending more time with loved ones, and working on passion projects. Basically, outsourcing gives you the gift of time and mental clarity, and that can be game-changing. Financial freedom awaits those with the discipline to delay instant gratification and invest in their future consistently. Putting just a few of these steps into practice can make a big difference in your financial situation over time. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you love this video, and I know you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And hey, share it with your friends and family so they can embark on this financial adventure with us. Until next time, stay money-wise.